But let's be honest, she's positioning herself. You can see it. She's positioning herself to run for president of the United States. Well, that's the thing. JD's going to have to, if he wants to be the president, he's going to have to say, Peter Thiel, I'm not.
The Antichrist.
He's going to have to say, Peter Thiel is Satan, and here's why that's good.
Tim Dillon's hilarious, but recently he and Joe Rogan talked about the prospect of Marjorie Taylor Greene becoming president, with Tim believing that it's a definitive possibility. They get into some of the dynamics about scenarios in 2028, so let's see what they have to say about that. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.
MTG, whether it's her or not, she's surprisingly weirdly capable. She's kind of a tough bitch. She ran a construction company, all this stuff. She's going to be able to go out there and say, America first, not Israel first. And Vance might wear. There's not enough daylight between him and Trump on Israel. MTG is going to take advantage of that. That's my guess. Get on the train.
Wow.
But maybe I'm wrong. But am I?
Has she voiced any?
She hasn't voiced it yet, but let's be honest. She's positioning herself. You can see it. She's positioning herself to run for president of the United States.
What is the wackiest shit that she's ever said?
I don't know. Something about the Jews and the weather, but let's be honest. Who knows what they're doing? These hurricanes come and go. What's going on?
MTG threatens to say every damn name on the House floor over Jeffrey Epstein clients 2 hours ago.
This is fun. Part of being the president now is spectacle. She gets it. She sees Trump. She goes, he put on a goddamn show. She's putting on a fucking show and a half.
Also, if you're a woman, there's an advantage that you have in that you are not fucking underage people.
No, and she's single.
Right.
She's single woman.
That's wild.
She's not, meaning that she doesn't have a husband who works for BlackRock.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She's a Lenny Kravitz song.
Now, why is AOC shutting her mouth about Israel? Because AOC's donors are big Israeli tech people. She's been silenced, and she's trying to run for president too.
Yeah, I think that's actually a possibility. Tim's hilarious, but he's right. There isn't much distance between J.D. Vance and Trump on Israel at all, almost whatsoever. They're Israel first to the core. You know, there's never been a more pro-Israel president than me. You hear it all the time from Trump, and his behavior echoes that. And he's right about AOC too, because AOC opposed an amendment that Marjorie Taylor Greene put on the floor to try to deprive $500 million of aid to Israel, and AOC didn't support it. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie did, so what does that tell you?
Really?
Yeah.
She'll struggle.
She's not going to win. She's a goofball. She'll be making mojitos. She's a goofball. She doesn't have it. She's a goof. But here's the reality. She's shutting her mouth about Israel. Is AOC out there about Israel? No. No, because she's a fraud. But the smelly, gross anarcho-communists in Brooklyn, to their credit, know she's a fraud. They know she's a fraud. In between their, whatever, open mic nights and whatever, they figured out... Poetry slams and dog walking. They figured out that this bitch is a fraud.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. A lot of the dissident leftists I know she's a fraud too. I mean, she wants endless funding toward Ukraine and the military-industrial complex, and has had some votes against Israel, but ultimately hasn't gone the full mile like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie even have in opposing some of these schemes. So I think Tim's right about that too. I do think AOC is setting herself up to run too. She removed pronouns from her bio last year, I think, when she realized that the wokeness train isn't the proper electoral vehicle even for Democrats. So maybe that's a possibility too.
Big time.
Yeah, I don't think she was when she first started.
She wasn't, but she's realized she's ambitious.
She likes nice bags.
She likes nice bags.
That's what it is.
She's ambitious. She wants to be the president.
You realize that job can get you hundreds of millions of dollars. Look what happened.
Can you get up who her donors are, Jimmy? These Israeli tech people. It's kind of interesting because this actually just kind of came out. This is coming out more and more. MTG is one of these people that now she said some wild stuff. She wasn't media trained, okay? She came out. She made some unfortunate statements about Jewish people and the weather, perhaps. You know?
Did she do? I want to know.
She said something about Jewish space lasers. But Joe, why do the hurricanes always hit the west coast of Florida? That's where they never hit the east coast. They don't hit Boca.
The water is warmer or something.
So say you. The point is, whatever. But is it, or the laser?
The hurricanes never hit the East Coast? Is that true?
Yes, they hit the West Coast, which is where all the Christians live from the Midwest and Canada. All the Jewish people on the East Coast don't get hurricanes. They get a little bit of flooding. And when Marjorie wins, we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Well, we'll see. You know, it'd be a lot bigger of a benefit to America to have her in the Oval Office than the current president, that's for sure, especially based on the courageous stands she's taken recently, not only on Israel, but also on Epstein. And I repeat myself, on Israel.
So if you want to buy property, you buy it on the East Coast of Florida?
That's what they're saying.
Is that like Mar-a-Lago? Is that the East Coast?
Correct. Ding, ding.
Really? Okay, what does she say? Marjorie Taylor Greene has offered an amendment to the Israel funding bill to create space lasers. This is not a parody. MTG literally wants to appropriate money for a Jewish space laser. But what does that mean? She wants to fund space lasers?
I thought she was against it, but now maybe she's for them.
In 2018. It was back then. It was different times.
It's different times.
She wanted the space laser.
She was asking
2024,
questions.
It says it.
Now she wants the laser. Okay. Because
look at her face.
Why should they? Right.
Oh,
why
Joy Reid's talking about it.
Why should they have space lasers? We should all have them.
Joy Reid probably believes space lasers are racist.
That's right.
A 2018 post she made theorizing, in quotes, that Jewish space lasers started wildfires in California. Now she's saying the United States deserves this type of defense for our southern border. Okay, I don't think Jewish space lasers did that, but there was a real concern with the wildfires of Ontario.
Yes.
That so many of them started simultaneously over a large distance that it is almost impossible that this was not some sort of a concerted effort to start this fire. And then there was the question, were they experimenting with some sort of space or satellite-based energy weapon?
Well, what
I don't
about
even know if
these
it got
floods,
away with it because it's conveniently in the middle of the woods.
What about these floods in Texas with the cloud seeding?
Yeah.
This is a problem.
Yeah, a lot of people will put this on HARP and other theories of weather control, but who knows? All I can say is regarding the space lasers incident, you know, I haven't delved too deeply into that topic, but what I do know is that Marjorie Taylor Greene went on Piers Morgan and he grilled her on this, and she said she never used that phrase, and her words have been twisted to some extent. I don't know that she provided a plausible explanation about what she meant by that, but it doesn't seem to be like she was calling it Jewish space lasers. That wasn't the vernacular she used. That's what her critics in the media ran with, like Joy Reid, by the way. And Joy Reid, if anything, is one of the least trustworthy people in the universe.
Well, they were cloud seeding just a few days before that.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Well, that's also the problem that happened in Abu Dhabi, or no, Dubai.
That's right.
In Dubai, where they openly admit that
they're manipulating the weather.
Yes.
All these people are manipulating the weather.
Where are you going in Abu Dhabi? They do it once a week. Hopefully you'll get there on a rainy day.
Well, we'll see.
They do it every week.
They manipulate the weather every week?
Every week.
Well, good.
Well, it's how you keep everything green, Tim.
Listen, my concern is like my own country, and any country that wants to offer me a large sum of money to go and perform, I will do it.
Coming soon to the Congo.
Yeah, I will absolutely do South Sudan, Darfur, Angola, all of it. I'll absolutely do South Sudan.
Tim Dillon worldwide, the world could use that for sure. But when it comes to the weather modification, there are a lot of ways in which the government has tried to do this. the military has ventured to do this in several ways. And actually, you know, a lot of people point to this like it's all conspiratorial, that there's no way for governments or the military to influence the weather. But they do say, you know, human beings by ourselves influence the weather by carbon emissions. You know, there's this disconnect on that. But anyways, and it's a conspiracy theory if the government does it, though, right? But the UN has banned the military's use of weather modification techniques. So if you really believe that it's a conspiracy theorist, why does the UN have to ban it, by the way? And there's still, you know, skepticism of whether or not the government has adhered to that or the military has adhered to that. So there's a lot to this story that a lot of people don't know. But all I know is they say it's a conspiracy theorist if the government was prospectively doing it, but not when human beings are doing it in their everyday lives. That's just a cold hard truth, according to, you know, the scientific overseers that led us down the drain in 2020 to 2022.
Tim Dillon live in South Sudan. Absolutely will do it.
Yo.
Wouldn't you go to Saudi Arabia?
I'm busy.
Yeah, but
I have to stay here.
You're
I have
doing
a lot to do.
You're also doing well enough.
2 Israeli startup entrepreneurs played roles in the rise of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She pulled out of an event commemorating Rabin. Some concluded that AOC doesn't like Israelis, but 2 were instrumental in the lawmaker's early career.
Oh,
That's where it gets weird. They find you when you're young.
they find you when you're making mojitos.
They find you when you're young and promising, like J.D. Vance.
Well, that's the thing. JD's going to have to, if he wants to be the president, he's going to have to say, Peter Thiel, I'm
is the
not.
Antichrist.
He's going to have to say, Peter Thiel is Satan, and here's why that's good. JD has to get out there and go, wouldn't you rather know who Satan is and be friends with him and have dinner with him than have it be like, who's Satan?
Right.
So he's got to get out there and say, I happen to be friends with Satan.
Yeah, he's going to have to just spin that Palantir connection and the Peter Thiel connection to be sure. Man, Tim's hilarious, but there's some truth to this, and this isn't coming out very much out in the open in right-wing circles very much. They're staying very quiet about this, perhaps, you know, obviously so, but, you know, on the dissident sphere, this is a major issue. The idea that Palantir, which, by the way, was initially funded by the CIA through In-Q-Tel, that was kind of their financial wing back in like 2002 or 2003, it's a startup created by the CIA. And this is, you know, a major concern because recently it's endeavored to build a database with individual identifiers connected to each and every American that aggregates data, not only what the NSA has that the Snowden revelations revealed, the mass bulk data collection, but to aggregate that with information on Americans that other databases have at their disposal, uniting it into a single database like the IRS or, you know, Social Security. All the other government agencies aggregating this data together collectively is a huge concern to privacy rights and is maybe the first step to a CBDC in a truly dystopian society. So I'm hoping that J.D. Vance has to answer for this. A lot of people think he's a shoo-in to win the presidency. I'm not so sure, especially if this story makes headwaves, and really it should. It's being totally ignored by the mainstream media. They're consumed with other things of less relevance, like, hey, like the Cracker Barrel logo, right?
And I want that to be
misunderstood.
I want it to be destigmatized.
Right. If Satan could go on the Nelk Boys, maybe they could straighten it out.
That's right. Peter Thiel on the Nelk Boys, when they go, what do you think about fast food? And he goes, I take one pill every day to survive. And it gives me all of my nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how 2028 shapes up. I have no reason to think that Marjorie Taylor Greene has sincere presidential ambitions. If anything, I think Massey might have bigger presidential ambitions than Greene. He's answered some questions saying that, you know, he doesn't think that he'll do that, but he wasn't going to completely close the door on it. I'm just paraphrasing. And he could run a serious messaging campaign. He is a bulldog, too. They both are bulldogs. And, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene might have some advantages in some ways. But Thomas Massey, I think, is more articulate, more thoughtful, more principled than Greene. Not to throw any shade at her. I think she's been downright heroic lately, especially on Israel and Epstein. So basically Israel. Both of those two have, and it's not just those two issues. Striking Iran militarily. Both of them oppose that. Both of them have been for cutting spending and not promoting this absurd spending spree that both Republicans and Democrats embrace. So we'll have to see how that shapes up. AOC, I do think that she'll run. I think that she and Gavin Newsom will run for sure. I think Gretchen Whitmer will probably run as well. Those three seem to be prominent people in the Democratic Party that could run. AOC's donor base, I guess that makes sense given her recent votes against Marjorie Taylor Greene's amendment to cut $500 million worth of spending for Israel. AOC's excuse was, well, that was just supposed to go for the Iron Dome, and that's defensive. And I support defensive funding of a rogue country that's committing a genocide if it's defensive. That was basically, her line of defense against this. But that's skirting the fact that if you fund Israel, no matter what you fund them with, they can use other monies to fund their offensive weaponry in the starvation crusade and the annexation and occupation of Gaza, which they've said they're going to do, by the way. That's killed, over 100,000 people now, with many displaced, many losing their property forever, probably never to get it back. As they talk about building concentration zones, yeah, that's the AOC we're talking about. But I do want to hear from you. Let me know down below, who do you think's going to run for president? Will Marjorie Taylor Greene run for it? Will J.D. Vance run for it? Will Palantir hurt J.D. Vance? Will the space lasers debacle hurt MTG? Let me know in the comments down below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to Joe Rogan. Really appreciated this interview. It was hilarious. And please consider becoming a YouTube member. If you click the join button below, you can help support the channel. And in return, I will give you access to all of my videos before they go live to the general public on YouTube. And until I see you guys next time, no more war, no more debt, no more inflation, and no more empire. Peace out, guys. Catch you in the next one.